Hello and welcome to Warhammer Wednesday. In this video I'll be finally reviewing the Mark.III Power Armor Space Marines that you get in the Horus Heresy Burning of Prospero box set. Finally managed to finish them. As a few other people have pointed out, they do take ages to sort of get prepared and get glued and done. If you follow the channel, you might have heard me say that Mark.III is my favourite form of Space Marine power armor. I really like the Forge World models. I've got a couple of those models that are in Mark.III. I'll definitely be getting some at some point, and I really like the breachers too. Just pick one guy at random if the camera will focus. I mean, just look at that, just awesome. I love all these plates. It's very simplified, but then if you look at the rear, you've got more overlapping plates, I suppose. You get 30 in the box set, and as I said before, they can be a bit of a pain to prepare and things like that. There's a couple of reasons. One is the legs. They're all in two-part legs, so you have to glue one sort of part torso and a leg to just a leg, and it has to be the correct one. It won't work just gluing any other leg. It has to be specific legs. But there's so much variation that you're not really going to notice it too much. And also, if you change the position and angle of the torso, as well as the arms, the gun and the head, that just further aids to mask any duplications you may encounter. The bolt guns are really cool. I really like this sort of recoil compensator or muzzle flash or muzzle brake, whatever you want to call it, on the ends of the barrels. The power packs unfortunately are in two parts, unlike the Mark IVs, which and further Marks, which are just one power pack. These are in two parts, and if the join is not addressed, as you can see, I'll really zoom in close, you can see that there will be gaps, and there'll also be quite a big line along the whole top. But you get similar sort of mould lines and things on just the single piece power pack, so that's just something to look out for. Drilling the holes in the barrels of the guns is quite straightforward. However, you'll probably need a smaller drill bit, which I don't own at the moment, to drill through the recoil compensators or whatever they're called all the way through. I might own a smaller drill bit in future, and it's something that you could do anytime. You can still paint this whole model and put black in the holes, or even your null oil probably wash into those quite well, but it just adds a bit more 3D detail if you've got holes through them. But it's something that you can do later on if you don't own smaller drill bits. Also, what's changed is they have these chain blades, which are pretty awesome that they have these equipped. The power packs are lovely with these sort of small vents. They kind of sort of like remind me of steampunk / Bioshock, sort of in the way there's these turbines and vents and things like that going on. But there you go. I really love them. I mean, I definitely will be picking up another box set of these. The box set has more models than the Betrayal at Calth, and if you don't own either, I'd probably say you're best off picking as a starter box set the Betrayal at Calth, just because you get a Contemptor in there and you can use all the models really. Whereas in this set, if you don't have Imperial only, you're not going to find much use for the Custodians and the Sisters, but because they're only in this set, you're going to be able to sell them quite heavily at such a high price on eBay that will more than contribute towards more sort of chaosy type units that you just obviously can't do with Betrayal at Calth. But anyway, I've made these 10 at a time in sort of like a conveyor belt. Those who follow me on Instagram probably see a picture that I've done. This video also serves as sort of feedback to the Instagram as well as Facebook. Facebook will serve as that, as me asking questions, and you also give me feedback. If there are pictures or progress reports and things like that you're not keen on any social media platform, just make yourself heard. Like with these YouTube videos, I won't know that that's annoying people or that it's not of good quality unless you guys speak out and let me know. I don't get that impression if people thumbs down the videos either. If you thumbs down a video because you prefer knives, I don't know that that's the reason you've thumbed down the video unless you vocally say it. And if you've got an issue with publicly saying that, on a video, you can always send me a private message. If you don't want others to see what you've written, or you can send me an email. It's all on the channel. But moving back to the models, before I go on a massive tangent, I've grouped them into squads of 10, all with different weapon loadouts. I've tried to keep your traditional 1 sergeant, 1 special weapon and 1 heavy weapon. I've tried to keep that holy trinity, and then the rest of them all have their bolt guns. So for this squad, I'll go through each squad one by one. So this squad, I've got this sergeant with a plasma pistol and a power sword, classic combination, and I love the power swords. I have to say, beautiful things. Definitely remind me of like the gladiuses that Romans had. I've been watching Spartacus all the way through building these. I think I've nearly finished it. I probably will have finished it by the time you watch this video on the Wednesday. Absolutely lovely series. I didn't think I'd really like it, but anyway, I keep going off on these tangents. Anyway, but it just sort of Romans, legions. This is a legion. There's praetors, there's centurions, all those kind of things. Sort of, and there are even these sort of funky sort of helmets too. But quite a classic combination. Up to you if you want to have his standard on there. I've just gone for that. It just makes it easier to pick him out in a squad. Well, for the enemy as well, I suppose. And then I've got a plasma gun. Not a huge fan of these plasma guns compared to the newer ones, but hey, it's got a 30k sort of feel to it. And then heavy bolter guy, and he's running or he's moving it somewhere. One thing to note is this set of Mark.IIIs, and it will be the same when they release them separately, I would assume, is that they only come with 1 type of heavy weapon. You get your plasma guns and your melter guns. I don't think you get flamers though, which again is a disappointment, and you don't get missile launchers. You only get heavy bolters. Missile launchers would have just, I think that's a big mistake not including them, but you'll probably see there's an elephant in the room in this picture right now, and I'll talk about him in a little moment. But the models go together quite well, and this is the best kit I've seen for sort of Space Marines in motion, running, and also just striking a pose. Look, I mean, he's just looking over the distance. Your newer box sets of Space Marines are getting better at that, but the older sets, they sort of look just in one pose, which is their gun almost firing and them looking down the gun or looking towards the enemy. Whereas this set, I feel, gives you a lot of variation in just sort of like a neutral pose, which is great. I mean, look at this guy. Look, he's running forwards. You don't get that in your normal Space Marine kit. This guy, although it's sort of classic pose, sort of, it just works. Like the way they've modelled these legs, it's just up that quality. And likewise, this guy is sort of bracing, but leaning back a little bit. This set, let's talk about the elephant in the room straight away. The missile launcher guy. This is a missile launcher from the Betrayal at Calth box set. Yes, I know that shoulder pad is technically Mark IV. And that's Mark.III, but they have been known to mix and match sets. So there you go. But everything else is Mark.III, obviously except for his sort of armour, his band braces, whatever you want to call them, and the power pack. I've literally just cut off the vent and glued it to the side. So that's the elephant in the room, but I think it works quite well, and it's not going to look too out of place because you're going to see that shoulder pad more, and the arm you're not going to tell from a distance. But this sergeant, I've given him just a bolt pistol and a chainsword, classic combination, really nice pose. Melter guns, these just do look very funky compared to the newer ones in 40k. They sort of look a little bit like turbojets or something on the end. I don't know, I like them both, I suppose. And again, look at this guy, sort of running. You get that feel of animation with this kit. And look at this guy running that way. I really like their poses, incredible. And this guy, look, he's sort of aiming upwards. Yeah, a lot of scope for posing your miniatures with this set. We'll move on to this set quick. This guy, this is the articulation in the power claw that I liked. Really nice with each claw itself being represented by sort of fingers. It's given him plasma pistol 2. Just pointing in that direction. I must say it gives you a lot of melee weapons in this set. Not only does it give you all of the chain swords, for the sergeants it gives you bolt pistols, plasma pistols, power claws, power fists with claws, so like lightning claws basically. I mean, I know that these would count as lightning claws, but still, it gives you that. It gives you power swords. Doesn't give you power mauls. I would have liked to have seen a few power mauls. It gives you a funky thunder hammer, which looks a little bit like a broomstick in my opinion. I think the chunkier the power hammer, you know, with the end, the better. It does look a bit funky, the one that they provide in this set, but and then there's just heavy bolter guy about to raise that. I mean, look, that's just not an aggressive pose, but it's not your standard. I'll compare them to the Betrayal at Calth set in a moment, but that's sort of like your Space Marine pose that everyone's sort of familiar with. And this pose, it just looks, it's leagues above in my opinion. I really do think they've done an excellent job, and this guy running as well. So there you go. You're getting more and more variation with your Space Marines, which is always a good thing, and the quality and detail in these guys is superb. I'm a big fan. Let's just have a look at them compared to the Betrayal at Calth. So conveniently I've sprayed the Betrayal at Calth in black, so these are in sort of similar-ish poses. So same sort of brush. It looks exactly the same sort of piece on the CAD or whatever they use, but you can see the difference in the Mark.IV armour being these very sort of smooth edges, single plate design, with the iron armour being multi-plate, and the chest piece being just, you know, blank. You can see the differences in their helmets. We've got this grille. If you want to know what the Crusade armour looks like, which is Mark II, instead of individual eye lenses, it's just one long lens. A little bit like Knight Rider armour, I've called it. And then Mark I is your Thunder Hammer with the plume of hair on the top. But I just thought that would be quite interesting to view them both, and you can see the difference in the armour. Normally Mark IV armour has smaller pauldron rims. That's just because he's a sergeant. There's no difference between the sergeants of Mark III. They've got exactly the same as the rest of the troops. And let's just have a quick look at the power packs. So there you go. So the Mark IV, it's starting to resemble what we've got in the 41st Millennium, and the Mark III is this sort of steampunk design, still with some power cables and things like that. And look at all the plating. So there you go. So this is what I mean about one of the standard poses. I mean, he's sort of bracing, eye down the sight, and then if we just compare it to, I don't know, this one, it just looks like there's more of a presence with the iron armour one, that's all. There's the difference between the combat knife and the chain blade. If anything, I think the chain blade's in a better position there. With the knife, I mean, you could put it on his waist, but again, that might restrict the movement. I still think it's going to restrict the movement with his shoulder pauldron there. But I just think it's more feasible attached that way. But there we go. I mean, I love the Mark IV, and I love what they've done, and I love the grille and everything, and I love their sort of box fresh sort of bolt guns straight out of the factory compared to these sort of bolt guns that have the sickle magazines and the recoil compensators compared to, you know, the newer versions. So I just thought I'd make those comparisons. I still think Mark IV is a lovely set, but for me, just this is personal taste kind of thing. I just prefer the Mark III. I'd definitely get another box set of Burner and Prospero if they haven't already sold out, just because it's great that you get 30 of these iron armoured Space Marines, and you get all the custodians and the Tartarus Terminators, things like that. So that has been my in-depth review of the Mark III Power Armour Space Marines and the Burner and Prospero set. I just felt like they needed their own separate video, much like all of the other models in the set. If you have enjoyed this video, please do comment, rate and subscribe. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.